Hi again, this is Keiko from Brooklyn Shoe Space. Today, for Shoe Talks, we're inviting KC of Rocket 7 Shoes. I heard he's on the road. He is on the road, and he is actually at his son's birthday party. So, I hope he can join us still. Hold on. Shoe Talks with KC of at Rocket 7 Shoes. Post, pin comment. Okay. So for those of you who didn't see before, I didn't know about KC and his company, Rocket 7 Shoes. My former student, Mew Cycling, he told me about him and his company so that we can interview him. He is currently not in his hometown, which is Colorado, where his workshop is. And so he is traveling. I hope he can join. Oh, Rocket 7 Shoes, join wave. All right. Hi. I am inviting him on. I hope he can join. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, you're outside. Where are you at right now? You said you were on the road. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in Jacksonville, Florida right now, and it's my son's birthday, so we're at a trampoline park. So I'm outside. Too loud inside.
Oh my goodness. Right. Oh no, I'm sorry. You're like missing out on your son's party.
That's all right.
Is it? Yeah. Is it like he
there's
loves?
no party. It's just him.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's
because you're traveling. So. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Oh no, wait. Okay. I hope you're okay. So during the lockdown, have you still been working a little bit, or how has it been affecting you? Are you taking the time to kind of have family time?
This hasn't affected our business. The type of shoes that we make and what we do, it's a niche community that's going to buy these shoes. It's usually people with bad feet, and they're going to buy them regardless. So we're still pretty busy. We've been backed up for a while. So yeah, this hasn't really affected business at all.
And in a way, you can catch up on all the orders, maybe.
Exactly. No, we've definitely caught up. But now that I've been out of the office for a while, it's starting to pile up. My manager's, lining things up so when I come home, it can all get taken care of pretty quickly.
All right. Was this like a birthday trip for your son?
No, this was we were just at home for so long, wasn't able to do anything, and so we decided to just jump on get on the road. We were going to fly out here to Jacksonville, but because my wife's parents live out here, so we just jumped in the car. And I have a special needs daughter as well, so and an au pair, so we all just jumped in our Suburban and took off. And
How long did it take? 2.5 days. Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's an adventure. All right. Yeah. Thanks for taking your time. Tell us a little bit about Rocket 7 Shoes. When did you start? How did you get into shoemaking? Who do you call your mentors? Yeah.
Yeah, well, a guy who started it all, his name is Brian King. He and I raced against each other with the quad conventional roller skates way back in the 80s.
Wow.
And then in the 90s, when inlines came out, we were teammates and raced with each other on the same team. And we were just really good friends, the whole time through this whole thing. And he moved down to California from Seattle, Tacoma area. And kind of started working in the inline skating industry and things like that. And then started dabbling with making custom skates and
Uh-huh.
then started to get into the shoe business, like Rocket 7 with cycling and stuff. And, you know, he's always kind of wanted me to help him, and I just always wanted to be an athlete. So I am still an athlete. So I still, it's something that he really didn't see eye to eye on, where, you know, I was young. I went to work. I decided not to work because I knew life is too short. So I'm gonna start being an athlete as long as I can. And that's when I just quit my job, and you know, literally the next couple of years was kind of a whirlwind, and found myself going to the World Championships, winning,
Wow.
and
Uh-huh.
switching over to the ice, and then making the Olympic team. All this happened so
Wow.
fast. So
Uh-huh.
I've always said, you know, being an athlete, you can only do it once. You know, work is always going to be there. So I never really took work too serious just because of that. And yeah, that's kind of how I see life is, you know, you got to do what you want to do, and certain
Right.
things can always wait.
Wow. Well, not everybody can go to the Olympics and wow.
Yeah,
So,
it's been a fun ride. And so
yeah.
Brian and I, getting
Yeah.
back to his story, he started Rocket 7 from scratch, and really built it to something that is really, it's pretty special. He made it
Yeah.
to a pretty good sized business.
Yeah.
And after my last Olympics in 2006, I decided, you know, I didn't really want to retire. I was going to start coaching speed skating, but ended up moving down to Miami and opening up a bike shop. So when I opened up the bike shop, it was kind of one of those things that took over my life, and I didn't really have time for anything else. And then in 2008, 2009, Brian calls me and he's like, hey, you know, I'm going to shut down Rocket 7, because he started working in software, and that's been his dream
Oh,
job.
right.
So he's like, do you want to take it over? And I'm like, I can't right now, you know, and plus I don't want to live in Tacoma, because just the weather is just terrible out there. And so a year later, he keeps calling me, and I'm just like, nope. And then he shuts down. And then oddly
Hmm.
enough, I call him to ask him for one of the machines. Like, hey, can I get, not for
Ah.
shoemaking, but for
Uh-huh.
embroidery? And he's like, well, what about
Okay.
getting Rocket 7 going again? And I was like, well, that's a good idea. So that's when I flew out to Seattle, and we unpacked everything from Rocket 7, the crate, and he showed me how to, you know, kind of make shoes without making a shoe. And
Okay.
I mean, because I kind of knew how to do it, but not like to the gist of being, you know, I mean, I think anybody who has ever made a shoe, period, they think it's going to be great, and it's just, I mean, if you look back at that
The
first one,
first
you're like,
one.
no,
Yeah.
it's
No.
terrible. Or
But
if you've
when you
never
were
stitched before or anything, so it's
right.
the same thing.
Wow. When you were skating though, have you ever had your feet like fitted for
Oh
like
yeah,
skate
we always
shoes?
skate with custom skates.
Custom
Um,
skates.
I
Okay.
skated, or I actually skated on a pair of Rocket 7s. Brian made me some shoes.
Wow.
Um, and I mean, there's just a lot of um, experimenting, I guess, when it comes to, you know, if you're going to be making skates and cycling shoes, because they're not the same. And with
No.
skating, your skates have to be custom, because if they're not custom, then you just don't have the right feel. So you have to, I mean,
Mm.
there's no like off the shelf skating shoe where you're going to be comfortable going, you know, 35, 40 miles an hour. So
Yeah. Yeah.
take my bag. The socks are, you should
Sorry.
maybe take my wristband too, because, all right.
Oh, okay. And then from there you moved to where you are currently in Colorado?
Yeah, from Miami, we moved to Colorado. My wife's business has an office out here in the Boulder area. So we just, you know, picked up shop, and took off.
Hmm.
And, you know, it's nice. I like it. It's not really where I want to end up, but, you know, it's nice.
So yeah, you've been making shoes. So initially, how did you kind of take over his clients as well? Was there
Well,
like
when
a
you close down
community
a
or?
business like, yeah, when you close down a business like this, it's hard to recover, because
Yes,
it's such a, I mean,
absolutely.
and everyone's like, well, they're closed, and we're one of the we were the best custom cycling shoe business, and there was really no reason to close, even though we were going through a recession. But when he closed, everybody, you know, you think it's over. So when I literally picked it up 6 months later and started things again, and everybody, you know, even if they for some reason do some sort of research on Rocket 7, find it's open again, like even, you know, like just a couple of years ago, someone's like, oh, I didn't know you guys were going again. So that's kind of, that tells you our customer base as well. You know, we're not all pro cyclists, you know, riding my shoes and stuff. It's a lot of people, they buy a pair of shoes, they take care of them because they're older people. They're not young punks out there, you know, thrashing things around. So yeah. And plus $1,500 is something you don't want to go, you know, beating up to destroy.
Right. And it lasts a long time, I assume.
Well, that's the thing. They do if you take care of them, but like anything else. Okay. But for us, if you take care of the bottom of the shoe, we can replace the uppers. Like even now, if we make a full custom shoe for somebody and they wait like 10 years, then we can't make them a new upper because we throw the lasts away. But now we have actually a storage fee if somebody wants to do that. You know, we charge them $100 and we'll keep them forever. But yeah, if somebody wants a new upper, we can replace the upper, or if their upper is fine. Like you wouldn't believe some of the shoes that we get back. Like a guy we made a pair of shoes for in 1999, sent them back, and we still had his molds.
Wow.
And, yeah, we made him a pair of shoes from that same mold. He's like, this is fantastic. But then there was another customer where he had an old pair of shoes. I molded him for a new, because we didn't have his molds, made a pair of shoes for him. And he's like, these don't fit. They don't work. And I couldn't understand why. So he sends his old shoes back. I rip them apart. And literally the bottom of the shoes were so, like the inside of the shoes were so misshaped. It was unbelievable, but his feet like shaped that
molded
way.
To it. Oh my goodness.
So I had to make a mold of that and then last him. It was kind of a funny situation, but he got his other pair of shoes back and they were like perfect. So now he's got 2 pairs of shoes that are probably last him the rest of his life.
Yeah. Wow. So you have standard last as well, but do you always take a mold of somebody's foot?
No, we do. Like if somebody wants a semi-custom, we just do a tracing, and we ask a bunch of questions like what size you are and things like that and how you want your shoes to fit. It's not perfect because the heel cups are, you know, they can be a little loose, a little tight, you know, whatever. And so those are the things that you come into when you only do tracings or a semi-custom shoe. Although, you know, for 80% of our clients, a semi-custom shoe is perfect. But when you have bunions or bone spurs and things like that, that's when it gets a little tricky and you need to make a mold.
I love the video that you posted about like how you were, you know, taking the mold of someone's foot. Yeah, it's brilliant. And then I was surprised that actually, you know, when you kind of make last, you kind of make a shape of a shoe, but with cycling shoes, it seemed like you really try to kind of keep the person's footprint really like intact. And then
once we make, I mean, for us, it's not really a secret, but, you know, you always have to add space on the toes because if you just make them right from when people stand up, their feet splay out, and some people's feet splay out, you know, more than others. Even when I take the last, because their foot is, you know, kind of squeezed into a sock. That's why we do a tracing where it's just, you know, on paper and you can, you know, you try to be as accurate as you can, but then some people are like, it's too tight, it's too loose, because they really don't know what these shoes are supposed to fit like. And then, you know, one guy we made a pair of shoes for, well, I should say we made 4 pair of shoes for.
Wow.
His first pair, he's like, these are too tight. So then we added 3 millimeters. He's like, they're perfect. And then when he bought his second pair, he's like, can you add another, you know, 5 millimeters? So we added 5 millimeters. Once he got that pair of shoes, he's like, these are even better. So he sent his other ones back. So now all of his shoes kept getting bigger and bigger. And bigger. So he ends up half an inch larger, but the first pair of shoes fit. So it's kind of, you know, a lot of people don't really know what they like until they get a,
they try it.
Exactly.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Carbon fiber is something I've never used before, and you use them both for uppers and the bottom. Is it a different type of material that you use for the bottom, or is it just different layers, different treatment? Is that a trade secret?
Well, it is. But I mean, if you really, I've even shown people how to make shoes and they can't do it. You know, it's even people that work with me for over a year, you know, I say, okay, well, you make this shoe from start to finish, and they can't do it. And it's not just stitching, you know, they sat there and watched me do it over and over and over. And you have to have definitely a creative, and you got to be able to, you know, creative background and be able to work with your hands and be able to, you know, visualize a finished product. But our soles, you know, it's an X amount of numbers of carbon fiber laid in a specific way. And there's different types of carbon fiber that we use. We don't just use the typical 3K carbon because you don't need, you can like skip spaces and you only need so much support in certain areas. And then the upper, you know, we use a Lorica material, a microfiber. We've tried leather, we've tried all these things, and you know, if you're using leather, it shrinks because your feet are sweating and whatnot. So we get that question a lot, like, why don't you use leather? Well, because it shrinks, you know. And most materials over time will tend to shrink a little bit. Like even like certain shoes, I know Specialized makes a stock shoe, and it's probably like 5 years old, and these shoes come back and you have a sole and the upper of the shoe is literally straight. You know, it's flattened because it just shrank. And I'm like,
from the sweat, really, right?
And it just shrank so much. And ours, you know, we've got some really, really old shoes with some of the material that we used at, you know, first, and it did shrink as well, but that's why we don't use those materials anymore.
Right. Interesting. And you do a lot of designs on your shoe. Is it printed, or is it like a specific material that you have, or do you embroider? Well, I was so curious.
Yeah, we used to embroider, but the embroidery tends to, I mean, there is a backing to the embroidery, which on your feet, it doesn't feel comfortable. So, and where I like to do the embroidery, it's right on the side of the foot. So we just stopped using it and started doing heat transfers. And those work, you know, just as good, you know, and it's for, it's definitely not any easier to do heat transfer stuff because you got to do a lot of it. You know, our embroidery process was just, you know, slide it in the machine, hit play, and it just takes off, and then it's done. But when you're doing heat transfer stuff, you got to sit there and you got to, you know, press, you got to cut the material, you got to, you know, there's a lot that goes into it. And it's just not any faster. It's a little cleaner and you can do a lot more with it.
Right. And different colors, different, designs. I was surprised. So you have so many different designs. Do the clients come to you with a design sketch idea, or do you kind of have a library of something you can choose from, or?
No, our shoes come the way they come. You know, black, white, whatever. And if you want custom colors, that's extra. And if you want more design stuff, we just kind of go, you know, what do you want to do? There's a guy right now who wants these stars and all this stuff, or wanted stars. We made him all this stuff. And then he's like, well, I kind of want a spider and stuff on, you know. I'm like, well, wait, you just said this. See, it's just more time and energy on our side, which we don't mind. It's, you know, it comes out of their pocket, not ours. They're your shoes. You can make them any way you want. And so, you know, we explain that to everybody. As long as you're transparent with everyone, they don't really care. They just want something unique. Like this guy wanted something very unique. And I was like, okay, well, we can, you know, do what he gives me a little bit of an idea, and I just run with it, do our my own design.
Right. And then, so for example, I saw one that's geometric and a lot of cutouts. Yeah. Are they all hand cut, or do you have like a cutter?
I have a cutting machine. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I think your shop is like toy store for a lot of not toy store, candy. I like candy
Yeah,
store for us.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fascinating. Next time, I'll love to see what you have.
Yep.
How many pairs of shoes do you work at a time?
That kind of depends because a lot of times we're doing repairs and putting a
Mm,
new upper on a shoe or a new carbon.
mm-hmm,
Usually 2 or 3
mm-hmm.
at once, just depending on the repairs always come first because you want the customers that have your shoes to get their shoes back. You know, a lot of people don't want to not, you don't want to be without your shoes. So
Right.
yeah, usually one shoe a day. We're just kind of, we take our time. We don't really rush anything, and we're pretty relaxed at Rocket 7. And we just, I have a few employees, and everybody, it's definitely not run like you got to get it done. Only time we do that is when we have somebody that really like broke a shoe or somebody that really needs them quick. But it's me doing the work, so I
Right.
can only rush myself.
Yes. So how many of you, how many people are you guys? So 2 or 3 people
There,
or? Hmm.
there's 3 employees that are there almost full time. I mean, it just depends what you call full time because a lot of us work from home too. Like one of my employees comes in, cuts his uppers, and then takes them home and stitches them. So
Mm,
because he gets paid hourly when
per
he's in the shop, and then he gets paid per upper
piece.
when
Uh-huh.
he takes it home. And a couple of years ago, I lost, one of my main employees that, I pretty much, because I was going for another Olympics, so I wasn't in the shop very much.
Wow. Wow.
And he was my main guy. And I was like, okay, well, you have the checkbook, you pay yourself, whatever you pay yourself. Just know that when you make a shoe now that you are, I'm going to say that you're the co-owner. When a shoe comes back, you don't get paid hourly, and unfortunately that doesn't really work out so
Right.
well because unless it's all your stuff, then you'll only understand how to really be an owner if you're the guy going, wow, I just bought that material and it's wasted. Where if you're an employee paying yourself hourly,
Yeah.
you still like, I'm not going to not pay
You
myself
don't
to
care.
work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I see.
so
Oh,
there's
but
3 of us
do
pretty
you,
much full time.
yeah. Do you train everybody or is, do you find help? Like, do they know how to sew already? Most of the shoemaking
My
part is only
stitcher,
done by you. Hmm.
no, my stitcher, he has been stitching for a while. It just took him a while to catch on, to our stuff. And now he's taken it, like he's designed some of the uppers on Illustrator.
Wow.
So it's kind of, you know, when I tell him, I go, all right,
Collaboration.
if you're doing that, I'm not paying you to do that. You're doing that on your own. So, because you're learning, I'm not paying you to learn Illustrator because I'm the one who always does it.
All
So I had
right.
to learn all this stuff to like, because even our uppers are cut from a plotter. So everything is, I mean, it's done by hand to a certain point, but,
Yeah.
all the stitching and putting everything together. But there's a lot else, a lot of other stuff that goes into it. But, my employees, they want to see Rocket 7 grow. So they kind of take it personal
Yeah.
when they're
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Yeah. And for you, did you cycle before you got into Rocket 7 shoes?
Yeah, we use
Or-
cycling as training all the time with speed
Oh,
skating. Yeah,
oh,
it
oh,
was
I
probably
see.
every day or every other day. We were always on the bike. We used the bike to warm up and cool down.
Uh-huh.
So there's always using a bike.
And do your shoes fit with all the hardwares, or do they come with the other side of, how do you say? Do you always
The,
fit them? The cleats?
no, they tell us what cleat system they want, and then we make the
Hmm.
bottom of the shoes
To
exactly.
accommodate it.
Yep.
I see. Um, it's like just fascinating that it's like so many questions. And I'm gonna just check if anybody else also has questions. Please send us questions. If
Well,
somebody,
I have, like going back to the carbon fiber.
Yeah.
you know, there's so many different types of carbon fiber, and we use a cloth material, and then we impregnate it with epoxy, and then when and then we have a special material we put over the top of the carbon fiber to make it shine. So when we're done, we're done. A lot of people will work with carbon, and then they have to kind of paint it.
That coating. Yeah.
And we don't have to do that. So we figured out a way.
That's fascinating.
That, I mean, and it's hard because if you're doing custom, you have one person's foot. You only have one shot at it, and you don't want to keep going back and painting stuff, and it just because that just takes time. So we throw a bunch of different carbon in a bunch of different places, and next time, you know, when we chat, I'll take you through, you know, it's kind of neat to see the shop and see, you know, how
that's cool.
Type of stuff we use.
So bespoke shoemakers, sometimes they make fitters and they have the customer try it on a couple times and remake. Do you do that process, or is it really like one shot?
No, we used to use other people. We used to use you know, foot doctors, pedorthists, all these people. But what I have found with most foot people is that they do things their way, and their way or the highway. And it's, you know, for speed skates and cycling shoes and orthotics, you know, for us, we know what we're doing, and we've got it down pretty darn good. So when we're working with someone else and they're doing a mold for us and they do it wrong, now we have to pay for it, not them. So they got paid you know, X amount of dollars to do the mold because we sent them the client. And then now we have a bad mold that we don't even know it's bad because they made the molds the way they wanted to, not the way we
Oh, I see. And do the clients always come to you, or is that how you, so if somebody's in the East Coast, for example, do they go, so that's how you team up with a pedorthist somewhere in East Coast?
No, we definitely don't team up with anybody anymore.
No, anymore. Okay.
It's more, we do everything via Skype. So when someone's doing a mold, we'll send them a molding kit. Well, first they'll go to the website, place a deposit. We'll send a molding kit, and then set up an appointment for Skype. And then once we get that going, I mean, Skyping is relatively easy. We can see everything going on, and we just coach them through, you know, one foot. And then once they see how to do it, then the second foot's always pretty easy.
Interesting. Is there such a thing as like an angle of, so for example, when we're making shoes and we want somebody's foot tracing, it's pretty straightforward, but because of the movement of your cycling, it's kind of feels like you're on your toe, not on toes, but in your front a lot. When you do your imprint or your mold, do you have somebody's foot on an angle?
Yeah, when we do our foot mold, we do have a specific
angle
put on. But when you're doing the tracings, it's flat.
Right. That's so fascinating. And then do you take any apprentices or interns who want to, for example, learn? No.
I mean, we would for sure. You know, anybody who wants to learn. But like I said, once you get in the shop, it's so overwhelming on what we do and how fast we do it that it's almost like as soon as they learn, that it's like 2-3 months later. If you're doing the same thing every day, you'll learn it within 2 or 3 weeks. There's no way you can't. I mean, although there are some little twists in there that you might not know about, but it's more, it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, you're laying up carbon on a stock last. Now you've got a full custom one. How, you know, what's the difference? And it's like, okay, well, you know, the carbon stayed on the foot, you know, let's say 15 minutes too long on the full custom one. Now to try to get that off, you got some big trouble because it's hardened so fast. Where on a stock shoe, you can take a screwdriver, you can pry it, you can do all this stuff to it, and you're not going to destroy the last. But with plaster, it's going to explode.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, you got to be really quick.
It's impossible. It's like, you know, that everyone
Yeah.
gets so distracted. And I have all these alarms and timers in my shop, and as soon as I lay up a carbon, I'm like, set timer for X amount and blah blah blah. And then it goes off. I know exactly what I'm doing, and then I've got a shoe in the oven upstairs, doing something totally different. So if I don't set these alarms, then you can have shoes burning in the oven, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. I really have to see your space. This is
It's not
suspenseful.
In Miami. In Miami, it was much bigger. We had actually a shop.
Wow.
But in Colorado, I took over. We have a carriage house, and I made that into my shop. It's not as big as it should be, but we squeeze everything in as needed. And since I took over that, you know, the carriage house, things have changed. I've brought in more equipment. I could get rid of other stuff. So it's cramped, but you know, some guys are making these shoes in their garage, you know, a little even smaller space, you know, but for us, you know, we still sometimes get slammed and we have no place to put feet. So.
Right. Wow. 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 And do you still work with like professional athletes as well? And I saw that you do like the Ninja Warriors running shoes.
I have a few Ninjas. Yeah. On my, you know, I make them a couple layers of carbon fiber on the bottom, and then I take whatever sole that grips the best that they like. I take their sole, you know, they send me a pair of shoes. I take the sole off the shoe, and then I put it on their custom shoe that I made for them, and it's perfect. But that's actually where I'm going now. I'm starting to make Ninja shoes only for Ninja and not custom. So we're working with a factory down in Mexico to make these types of shoes, because that's kind of more where I want to go. Not that I want to, you know, get out of the cycling shoe industry, but you know, when you're doing stuff with your hands day in and day out, it's fantastic. But some of the people that I deal with aren't fantastic. So it's I'd rather have, you know, someone say, hey, your shoes, your off the shelf stock Ninja Warrior shoe isn't all that great. Can I have my money back? Well, here's your money back. No problem. You know, but when I'm making something custom, it's like, you got to eat it. You know, it's custom, and people don't understand that. I feel bad. Like every year or two, we'll get a client who's just, it's a nightmare. And I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. I mean, they're total jerks, where it's like, I don't know what they're expecting the bike to pedal alone with the shoes and not with them on it. I don't know how it works, but I mean, it's amazing some of these customers that you deal with. But then there's customers that, I mean, they're so fantastic. It's like, man, you really saved. Now I can ride my bike without pain. That's why we do what we do.
Do it,
you know?
yeah.
But the Ninja stuff, it's going to be, you know, we're
off the shelf,
make
kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And then we want to get into the running shoe industry, and that's what I want to do. I want to sell product. I don't want to make it.
Okay. Okay.
It's funny because going through these factories, looking for these shoes, people to make. You know, I'm seeing a real shoe factory now. My factory is not real compared to what these factories do, and these lines, and everybody's just firing away. I'm impressed. So we went down to Mexico and talked to a few different shoe companies. And, you know, they're looking at me and my partners like we're just some people looking to push them around and get shoes out of them. But when we're in this meeting, I share this video of me making the shoes, and it's me making the shoe from scratch. Yeah. And you get their respect. Instantly. And we went to 3 factories the first day, and all 3 of them wanted to work with us. So it's kind of like, I mean, it's because they understand that we understand that there's a lot that goes into making shoes, and we're not just people that, you know, hey, where are our shoes? Why aren't they done tomorrow? You know, it's like, no, it's we get it.
No. Yeah. So is the Ninja Warriors like a super big market? I guess it is.
I mean, it's not huge.
And
it's niche, but there's gyms, you know, the
Yeah.
gyms are exploding in the United States right now. And
Right.
our plan, we have a specific plan, you know, that we're going after. And I started doing the ninja training and stuff a while back, and I really enjoy it. You know, my whole life I've been, you know, squatting and
An athlete.
pushing weights with my legs, and now it's like my whole body flipped over, and my shoulders are telling me no, but you know, my mind is like, you know, I'm a kid at a playground, so it's
That's great.
it's kind of, I enjoy the people. There was a lot of great people in speed skating that I met along the way, but it's just a different mentality, because the ninja, when you fall off of an obstacle, you just fall off because you couldn't hold on or you made a mistake. It's all you know.
Yeah.
And in speed skating, it's you're against the clock, and you know, sometimes it's frustrating because you'll train for 3 years to go to the Olympics and you may not even make it. And if you make it there, you may have a bad day and not get a medal, or, you know, something like that happens. And I'm just like, you know, the ninja just, I don't know. It's not as cutthroat as the speed skating world. And it's a breath of fresh air for me. Although I made a lot of great friends. I mean, fantastic people in speed skating. But, you know, the ninja is just, you're just a bunch of kids on a playground helping each other.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that's so great. Do you feel
actually
like
one of the
you
guys
would
that's watching right now, Johnny Roma, he's one of my idols. He's got some gold medals and world champion. He's one of the best speed skaters there was. So
that's so great. So what would you do differently? I know you said it didn't change much, but would you do differently after this coronavirus and the lockdown? Would you go towards your goal? You told us with 3-5 years you might do, or you're going towards off the shelf. Would you do anything else differently?
You know, it's hard to say, because I mean, I enjoy making shoes, and the people who make shoes, you know, you've got to be able to understand their thought process, you know, and it's not like, I don't want to do it anymore, but I don't want to do it where I'm under the gun. And having, you know, when you get some of these, you know, now it's funny because I contacted the guy that was making me speed skates, and as soon as I started making shoes, I said, "Look, man, I'm sorry." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I go, I'm sorry because of the shit that I put him through. Like, hey, where's my stuff? Is it ready yet? You know, and now I get it. It's like you got people riding you for product, and you can only go so fast. Right.
And how's your hands? Are they surviving? You make so many shoes.
Well, that's from doing ninja as well, but I got calluses ready to pop, and yes.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any younger.
And one more question. So this is like totally ignorant. I didn't do my homework and like looked up a little bit of the carbon fiber, but do you use heat with it, or is it chemically activated, or is it heat activated?
You don't have to use heat. You don't have to.
How do you mold it?
There's a couple different ways. Like, we use epoxy. We just mix epoxy, you know, part A, part B, mix it up and lay it over the cloth. And then you lay the cloth on top of the foot itself, and then we wrap it.
It'll shape,
Then it will shape.
I see. Thanks. Because it's fascinating, you know, and there's so many colorways that I didn't know. I thought it's all black, but it's not. And then
they have, you know, different stuff, but black is, I mean, when you start doing pigments and things like that, you're playing with fire. Carbon fiber is carbon fiber. You know, I've got some stuff that has, you know, I saw it on pictures, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll buy some of that just to see what it's like. And I get it, and I'm like, ooh, that's garbage. And like, I would never use it for a car part or something like that. So I don't even know why they actually sell it. It's like tinsel inside the carbon, but it's gold, because one of my clients is a gold medalist. Oh, a couple of them are, but I bought this carbon fiber with gold in it. And as I felt it, I was like, ooh, it doesn't feel right. And then when I made the shoe, it was completed. But I think that type of carbon, I mean, it's all cosmetic. It's not like a lot of the stuff that you see on the outside. It's not what's on the inside. That's for sure. Like they'll use, let's say, carbon X for this, and then carbon Y and Z for this and this, and then cover it with the typical, you know, something that looks kind of different. Bikes did that for years, and I didn't know what it was. And then I saw some of these bikes with different carbon fiber on it, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then once I got into this, I'm like, they're not using that carbon fiber all the way through, because if they did, that carbon fiber would be like 20 grand. So
right. Okay. Somebody HCRIP custom carbon fiber makes it faster. Huh. I think somebody commented on it, but and also let me just check all the questions really quick. Oh, Pergamina, New York asked, where do you want to end up? Do you think the Ninja Warriors off-the-shelf shoes kind of answers it, or do you have a bigger?
That's where I want to go. That's where I'm heading. I definitely only want to do Ninja shoes, you know, and hang out with the Ninja Warrior type stuff and going to trade shows and selling to those types of gyms and making a custom shoe with custom colors to represent their gym. Because you gotta think there's a lot of kids involved in Ninja Warrior, because it's a big playground. Yeah. And every gym that I've been to, you know, you look around, even though I enjoy it and I'm like, wow, this is a great business for me, there's all kids there, you know, and it's like, and they're having a blast. And so I'm like, all right, I can do something, and hopefully if it's successful, I can start to sponsor athletes, because all these athletes that are doing this stuff that you see on TV, they're all struggling. You know, there's a TV show behind it, and that's exactly what it is, a game show. And you are responsible for pretty much every bill that you have to pay to try to get there if you get selected. Oh, right. And I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, like American Ninja Warrior is the Olympics for ninja. It's fantastic, you know, and we definitely, I want to be a big part of that. And there's just so many people that I met along the way in the ninja industry that are just nice. And, you know, and giving somebody a pair of shoes, pretty darn cool, you know, because they're, wow, this is great. And that's, you know, we're working on trying to make a shoe that's definitely good enough to withstand the Ninja Warrior, you know, crowd. And it's not only going to be for Ninja, like it's going to be for CrossFit as well, and some other athletic stuff.
Are you also a part of the Ninja like Warrior? Are you going to be in the contest or the game?
You never know. Right now, it's canceled, and we don't know if there's going to be. We don't know if there's going to be a season, but you know, if there is, they have to select you, and it would be fantastic. I was on the show last year. Yeah, I was on the show last year. I wasn't on the show. I was on the obstacles and fell relatively early, so it wasn't quite good enough to get on the show. But yeah, so it's definitely something that's fun to do.
Yeah. How do you train for it? Do you have like a backyard for it, or do you go to those gyms?
I go to those gyms, and now my basement is kind of turned into a ninja gym. So
wow,
we're in the middle of actually remodeling it now, but and a lot of obstacles going up. But yeah, I love going to the gyms, getting on different obstacles, but I'm not good enough to really. I mean, when you're training with these real, like, it'd be like me taking a regular person that doesn't know how to speed skate and go speed skating with them. And when they watch me go by, it's like, wow, it's like you're not doing anything. Well, when you see these really good ninjas, like there's a guy on here. Wow. There's a guy watching now. His name's Nate, Gnarly Nate. You watch these guys on these obstacles, and it's like they're just floating. And it's wow. really cool to watch, because, you know, you right. And then I do the same thing, and I think, and I almost think that I look like them. But then the video of myself
That's the vision.
them, it's like, Not even close, dude. Not even close.
But that's your vision. You have that in your mind, you know. But also, you're a shoemaker. You know, you don't have the time. I mean, you're taking the time to train, which is great. But it's like a break for you. It's like a good balance of, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward. Let's once we're offline, we'll schedule a time to when you're back in your shop. I would love to see your shop.
Yeah. Well, somebody just asked, you know, have I ever thought about making a gym sneaker or shoe?
Sneaker. Oh, yeah.
And that would be like that would be our Ninja shoe. It's going to be soft. It's going to have really good grip. It's going to have a flatter sole than like a typical running shoe, where a running shoe has a pretty good slope coming up. This one's going to be a lot flatter. And that
almost like boxing shoes. Like boxing shoes. Yeah.
And the foam on the bottom of the shoe is going to be, you know, like 5 millimeters thick. So it's not going to be as thick as some of the shoes that are out there now. And yes, they're going to be as light as we can make them. I mean, we're going to make them literally minimalist. Everything that I do, I try to do minimalist. But here's the thing: if you want them really light, they're not going to last like a really, you know, a little bit heavier shoe with heavier materials.
Right. And the uppers, are you still using a little bit of carbon fiber?
No. These are just going to be typical shoes, nothing crazy. You know, we're not going to, maybe once we get out there and it's successful, when things start to go, you know, we'll get some feedback from some of the athletes and see what we can do. But on the top of the shoe, like on the sides, like on the inside part of the shoe, we're going to put this rubber silicone material for rope climbing, so it'll grip when you cross your feet over. We're trying to just, you know, make a specific shoe for this type of
for this athlete. Sport. Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing any prototype or anything when it comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. Do you only work around the sports field? Off sneakers, I will be. Oh, the same person. H-Crip Customs asked, do you only work around the sports field?
Yeah, maybe you should, like,
I'll ask
direct message me for that. I don't really actually know what that means, because I'm just making sneakers, like just making a shoe for somebody. I definitely, I mean, I do that. I make one-off shoes for people, but, you know, they got to realize they're not going to look like, you know, the off-the-shelf shoe, that's for sure.
Right. Very cool. Have you ever, those shoes that you've made, the one-off shoes, do you take photos? Do you keep track of them? I would love to see some.
Some of them go up. One of the guys that we made a shoe for, Adam Rail and Jamie Ron. Jamie on the Ninja side is they call him Captain NBC. So on one side of the shoe, it's a flash, like a lightning bolt. Yeah. And the other side, you know, it's pretty neat. You know, my stitching guy, he's pretty creative, and he takes his time. I can't take my time. I'm just like in a hurry to do everything, get it done, and that's why I have somebody doing that for me, and I'm the guy putting them together and letting it rip. But there's a few pictures up on our website.
Yeah. What's your favorite that you've made so far?
I made a camouflage shoe for Greg Van Avermaet. He's a gold medalist cyclist in the last Olympics. He, you know, he's like, he doesn't care. His feet are so bad, like they change weekly almost. Like the back of his heels, he gets these blisters on him, and he can't even ride. So I've had to make him shoes with just literally a carbon bottom and then rubber in the back, so he has no tension back there. I mean, I've tried to make him because at one point before we connected, he would cut off the back of his shoe, and they'd have to tape his shoe or tape his foot to the pedal. So, and he's riding big races like that. Now he doesn't have to do that, but he still gets pain in the side of his foot. Like I'll see his shoes on TV, and he's got a big slice in the side of my shoe, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Well, when he gets pain, I mean, he slices the shoe, and I get it, but these guys are, you know, like someone like himself, his feet are swelling up. I mean, you're in the, we say in the saddle. When you're in the saddle for 6 or 7 hours, it's going to happen.
Right. Wow. That's crazy. All right. Well, next time when you're in the shop, I would love to ask a little more about like the hardware details and the machines that you, and the tools that you use. But I think today I need to let you go to go back to your son's birthday party. I'm sorry to take so much time, but thank you so much for taking your time. It is so fascinating. And thank you for doing what you do. Yeah, we'll see you back when you're in the shop.
All right. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.